He is a 7-time Bassmaster Classic qualifier. He's an FLW Tour winner, an Elite Series champion, and the back-to-back Bassmaster Angler of the Year. Chris Johnston joins me this week on...
I'm Bob Cobb for the Bassmaster. Welcome to Mercer.
Oh, we have a very special show for you this week. Welcome one, welcome all, friends, family, freeloaders, fishing freaks, and of course you, my humpers. Happy hump day to all of you, and welcome into the Awkwardly Honest Fishing Podcast that goes by my last name, which is Mercer. This is the 228th edition of the Mercer Podcast, and I hope that life is treating you well. A very, very special show here this week. Why? Well, it's because we have our brand new Bassmaster Angler of the Year. And for the second year in a row, it is the same dude, and that is Chris Johnston. Unbelievable back-to-back Angler of the Year. And when you think of the other people that have done that, you ready for this list? You ready to know the group that he's just joined? The only others who have ever won Angler of the Year back-to-back: Roland Martin, Guido Hibdon, Kevin VanDam, and now Chris Johnston. Just to put his name in that elusive group is elusive or exclusive, whatever. I'm not great with the words. I just move the hole that makes the words. They're not always the right words, clearly. But to join that group, that exclusive group, is unbelievable. And it was a weird Angler of the Year race. I mean, it was, in my opinion, one of the greatest Angler of the Year races. I mean, we all vote for the same thing. We all cheer for the same thing. I just want it to be tight going down on the wire. I want it to go down to the last moments of competition. And it literally did that. I mean, they went into the final event tied, Chris Johnston and Trey McKinney. And just when you thought Chris was about to sneak away with it, Trey finishes 50th in a two-way tie for 50th, slides into semifinal Saturday, and battled his way up throughout the day on a day that Chris struggled. But struggle is kind of the story of Chris's season. He talks about it during this conversation. Doesn't feel like he was in contention all year long. Not in contention, like didn't have a great season, but an incredibly consistent season. Did not make one top 10, but never finished out of the top 31, proving how important consistency is. For the second year in a row, we have the same Angler of the Year, and we have the same angler in second place. And it just leaves me saying, I can't wait till next season to watch everybody battle it out. But I don't think that Chris and Trey are done battling. I think they will battle for a long time. So congratulations to both of them on a great season. And I always feel that at the end of the year, you watch somebody win Angler of the Year, and whoever finishes second. I mean, this year a little different because, Trey had a win, his second win in as many years. He's 20 years old, so it stood out a little more. But quite often the person that finishes second for Angler of the Year, people kind of forget about. And I always think it's so weird because literally it's just a story of the finish line. Like they battle back and forth all year. They both had incredible seasons. It literally came down to one or two fish throughout the entire season, potentially just one fish. And I'll let Chris tell that story, but an incredible year, an incredible conclusion to go back to back. Truly amazing. Love him or hate him, Chris Johnston is a major player in this sport and one of the top anglers in the world right now. And we talk about that too. The love and the hate. It is weird. You get people that sit on one side of the fence or the other. I mean, you got people who are hardcore Johnston brother fans, and you got people that are the opposite. But we talk about that in this conversation. We talk about a lot of things in this conversation. I thank Chris for being as open and as honest as he was in this conversation, because if there's a weakness in Chris's game, that's it. Kind of just relaxing and being himself on camera. But again, if you're wanting to be a professional angler, he's got a lot of the right things. He's got a lot of the incredible things that, there's a lot of people very comfortable on camera that would gladly switch positions with Chris Johnston. So I thank him for being very open, very honest, a great conversation that we have. And just when I thought, hey, we're going to have an Angler of the Year show, this is a big deal. It's his first kind of interview that he's done since winning it, because guess what? After he won it, he just went and won another tournament, the CISA Kingston Open this past weekend, where he was partners with his brother, Corey. So they've won the last 4 major events on the St. Lawrence River. The last 4 that they fished, they have won them all. It is unfathomable what they're doing. But just when you thought, hey, we're going to get the eyes of the fishing industry on this podcast, because this is going to be a great conversation. We're going to celebrate our Angler of the Year. Bassmaster goes and makes a giant announcement yesterday. Forward facing sonar. I know the F word. It's a word many people try to stay away from, because it causes controversy. It's really, you should not talk about, what is it? Taxes, politics, religion, and forward-facing sonar. The 3 things you shouldn't talk about, because no matter what your opinion, you're going to end up with somebody with the opposite opinion. And the sport of professional fishing has kind of juggled this for a few years right now. When you've got people who are hardcore, they say it needs to go away. And I see their point in some situations. Then you got the other side where people are like, you can't stop technology and evolution. And that's just what our sport has been founded on. I mean, you look at all the things that have come along, and very, very few of them have been stopped. And it also gives a lot of really cool things to it. I mean, we're seeing weights that we've never seen before. We're learning things we've never learned before. So I see that side of it. But again, no matter what side you are, even if you try to straddle the fence like I do, because I really feel like I am right in the freaking middle. There's parts of forward-facing sonar that I absolutely love. There's parts of forward-facing sonar that I absolutely hate, especially when it comes to competition and competing, and being part of a TV show. Let's be honest, because Jake Latondra said it maybe 2 years ago when we first started talking about it on this podcast. Talking to someone when they're using forward-facing sonar is literally like talking to someone when they're texting. We've all been in those conversations, and buddy picks up his phone across the table from you, and they're still there, but they're not really there. Look, there's a fly trying to attack me during. I'll soldier on. Look, that son of a. I caught him. Did I catch? Let's see if I did not catch him. I did not. I am a loser. That would have been super cool if I did, but I didn't. So yeah, there's good parts, there's bad parts, and the industry has tried to juggle it. A year and a half ago, Davey Height and myself kind of pushed for Bass to go to a power hour. I would love to see like the final 2 hours of each day are forward facing sonar, and just to see that, because I think it takes away. I mean, I think we've seen with what MLF's done, it works. It gives it a sense of urgency. You lose the I'm a little teapot with people with their hand on their hip. Now all of a sudden forward facing sonar's got a sense of urgency. You've got that tease all day that, hey, you've watched Greg Hackney sling a jig all day, but Kyoya's going to get those last 2 hours of the day. But that being said, literally everybody on the Elite Series, anglers, everybody that we tried to pitch it to, said it was horrible, with the exception of Jason Christie and Jeff Gustafson. And they might have just been agreeing because they're nice guys. But so we didn't go that way. And everybody has wondered what Bass is going to do moving forward, because there is an outcry of certain people that want it away. And what Bass has done, I think, will make the sane people happy, because it's kind of a happy medium, but it'll make a lot of other people not so happy, because if you're adamant that it has to go away, this isn't going to make you happy. It should. It should. There's a guy who has literally been screaming from the rafters for years to get rid of forward-facing sonar, and guess what? It's gone for half the events. He's still not happy. So you may ask yourself, whoa, can he be happy? I don't know. Because this should be a victory. If you do not like it, this should be looked at as a victory, if you ask me, because half the events, we are not going to have forward facing sonar. Half the events, we are going to have forward facing sonar. And it would have been really easy for Bass to be like, well, here's the ones with, here's the ones without. And everybody would have said, well, why don't you make it random? That's exactly what they're doing. Tomorrow morning, September 4th at 11 a.m. Eastern time, Mark Zona is actually trooping down to the studio. He's actually going to make an appearance in the studio. So good at so many things, but really horrible at retiring. Z-Train will be back in the studio with Tommy Sanders and Davey Height. And they are literally going to decide what events we have forward-facing sonar and what events we do not have forward-facing sonar. And they are going to decide it the same way the Super Bowl decides who's getting the ball to start things off, and that is with a coin flip. It is going to be totally random. They're going to pair lakes. So, for example, the first two tournaments of the year, Gunnersville and Martin, the two Alabama events. One of them's going to be with, one of them's going to be without. They're going to flip a coin and decide that. That's all going to be live tomorrow. So it's going to be really interesting. It's going to change the complexion of an event. Like you take that first event, that Gunnersville event, with forward-facing sonar, we will probably blast our lights out. It may be a record-setting event. Without forward-facing sonar, it's going to be a little bit more grimy. It's going to be a bit of a grind. It's Gunnersville. They're still going to catch them, but it's not going to be the numbers. It's not going to be giant bag after giant bag. It's going to be a little bit more old school. And for a lot of people, they love that. So one's going to have it, one's not going to. They're going to go through the whole schedule, pair all the tournaments. You're going to have two, flip a coin and decide. And then the final event, like how do you go 50-50 when you have 9 events? Pretty tough to do. The final event will have its own coin toss. So they'll coin toss for the St. Lawrence River, which is the final event. And to be honest, I love forward-facing sonar events on the St. Lawrence River because you see mega bags, but I'm all about no forward-facing sonar on that one because it's going to just change things. And the scary thing is, it may just make the Johnstons and a bunch of the kind of ringers on that body of water even more lethal. So yeah, it's a polarizing topic. It is nuts. It doesn't matter where you sit on it, but that's what they're doing. And if you ask me, depending on how you choose to look at it, 50-50 kind of scratches the itch on both sides. It gives everybody a little bit of what they want. And if you choose to look at it like, well, they should have just made it illegal. Well, I guess there's a lot of reasons you can't make it illegal or you shouldn't make it illegal. I mean, it's an evolution of sport. And if you're all for, well, it should just be wide open. Well, there's a lot of reasons that it shouldn't be. I don't need to debate those on this show because guess what? The internet is freaking debating them and you won't have to look very far to find a debate. I mean, hey, let's just stroke the algorithm and get into a debate in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Do you love 50-50? Is it a good step in the right direction? Is it the wrong thing? Is it the right thing? Everybody's got an opinion and I won't hold them against you if you leave them in the comments. And guess what? It'll help this show. It'll stroke the algorithm, and the algorithm, damn, it loves to be stroked. So yeah, that's kind of my skinny on that. But let's just jump into the show because it is a celebration of an angler that just did something that only 3 other anglers have ever done. And that has become back-to-back Bassmaster Angler of the Year. And if you think of that change in the rules, how much more compelling is it now? Now I really want to see what happens next season. You look at the Angler of the Year list from this year. I want to see how it changes, if it changes. Well, we'll have to wait and see that. But we don't have to wait very long to hear from one Chris Johnston, your reigning and double defending Angler of the Year, Chris Johnston from Peterborough, Ontario, Canada. Back-to-back Bassmaster Angler of the Year, Chris Johnston. And, I think maybe you were out partying and doing all sorts of stuff, but I mean, you've just done what you freaking do, and you just continue to friggin' win tournaments.
It's, I haven't had any downtime since that AOI. Today was my first day where I finally get back home and try and get my life back together, to be honest. I've been on the computer, doing emails, getting paperwork caught up. And I was just telling you there before, I got some guns to sight in because it's hunting season. I got to shoot my bow. I got an elk hunt coming up here in a couple weeks.
Is that important for you to get that time away from the sport?
Yeah, 100%. I need a break. I'd love to say, you know what, I want to fish every day. I can't wait to go fishing tomorrow. But no, I'm ready to put the boat away for a couple weeks and just have a little break from it, go fishing, kind of a reset. And then by the time hunting season's coming to an end, I'll be sick of hunting and I'll be looking forward to going fishing. Usually it's in Florida, though. I love going to Florida kind of in January, get out of the snow, get some heat, get a tan. But we might hit snow in Gunnersville. I think, what are we going, February?
Yeah.
That might not be so nice.
It's a little risky.
It's throwing a curveball into my plans. I usually go to Florida a week early, have some fun, just do some fishing, but things are going to be a little different this winter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird. I was saying that to somebody from down south at the last event because they were just walking around just loving life because you can breathe in the air. And I'm like, you feel exactly how we feel when we go to Florida because we're like, oh, we're finally out of the snow. Yeah. We're there finally out of the heat for a little while. But you said you're going to stop fishing tournaments for a little bit. On behalf of all tournament anglers that have ever been anywhere close to you, I think they're ready for you to stop, especially in the St. Lawrence River. Like you and your brother have won the last 4 events you fished there, and none of them have been small events.
It's been pretty good to us. The river doesn't owe us a thing this year. I have no complaints. It gets harder every tournament to win there. I can tell you that. The fishermen are getting better. Just the techniques are getting better, and it gets harder every time. And the weights keep going up. So you kind of got to stay on your toes and try and have that upper, like that little advantage, whatever it is, on guys. And that's where staying on the water all summer, trying to tinker with things like going to Lake Simcoe, where it's about an hour from where I live, trying different baits on smallmouth, different techniques, and then applying them to places like the St. Lawrence River. Because I don't fish the St. Lawrence unless I have a tournament there. And the last few years, I've fished there maybe once a year. So this year, I fished it for 2 weeks this year. But a lot of the techniques and stuff I use, I learned them locally around where I live.
I mean, because what you're doing kind of blows statistics. Like statistically, you guys have always done well in the St. Lawrence. You've done well everywhere. At Simcoe, a lot of the bodies of water you fish. But statistically, you're spending less time on these bodies of water in the last 7 years just from joining the Elite Series, just because you're away as much as you are.
Yep.
Your finishes should be going like this, and it feels like they're going like this.
I don't know how it's happening either. Like I said, you lose spots every year. People are getting better. They're doing the same thing you are. So I don't know how we keep ending up on top. Like this past tournament, we fished out of Kingston for $50,000, and it was some of the best local smallmouth fishermen. We had some Americans come up. And on day 2, first of all, it was a team tournament. Corey and I, we lost the first 4 fish of the day. And we weren't getting many bites, but they were some giants. And it's like, oh boy, here we go. And then we caught a few, but by noon we had 3 good fish and a 2-pounder. And that's only about 2.5 hours of fishing left. Like it was a struggle on day 2. And we ended up catching one 5.5. And then in the last hour, we called up that 2-pounder to a 4. And then with 10 minutes left, we caught a 4 3/4. And people just think we go out there and 27 pounds, jump in the boat, and we eat sandwiches the rest of the day and come back and win the tournaments. But it is far from that. Like it's a grind every time. It's not easy.
Do you ever think you're not going to catch them though? Like, do you ever have that?
No,
you're like it's not going to happen today.
After practice out there, we knew we were going to catch them. We didn't know how good. But like, it was nice fishing a team tournament because Corey went one way on the lake and I went another way and just checked waypoints. And this tournament, we only had like one nice day to go out in Lake Ontario. The other days were windy and you just couldn't fish in the lake. So he checked his areas. He caught, I think, 3 6-pounders in practice in one day. And I caught a 6 and a 5.5. So it's like, all right, we're going to catch some. Maybe we got lucky and caught 6s, or maybe there's more like that. You obviously don't beat them up. And when you can put our two kind of game plans together, it worked out. The first day we weighed 29 pounds, but it just, I don't know.
In your run, which is unprecedented, and we're going to talk about your whole season, not just, I mean, we didn't even have a tournament on the St. Lawrence River, ironically, but it is kind of a topic of today but in your time, your run on that river and what you guys have done and the lake, how many different eras did you go through, so to speak? Like, because you say that it's subtle adjustments, and I know you're not going to tell me what those baits are and things like that, but I mean, stuff that is very present, like the fluff era, like that was a secret and you guys had that. How many times have you reinvented yourself to stay on top there? Like with things like that?
Quite a few. So I first fished the St. Lawrence when I was 18 years old, and it was I think an Everstart back in the day. It was the first American tournament I ever fished. Never been to the St. Lawrence. And I went out there and I caught them all in like 10 feet of water or less. And I was green. I didn't know what I was doing out there. Never seen the lake. And I ended up finishing second place. I had the lead after day 2 and I just ran out of water. And a long story short, actually on the final day of practice, when I just figured out they're all shallow, Corey broke down on like the main ducks and he's like, you got to come get me. So I was like, all right. He sent where he was roughly. Well, then I go out there. He's got no cell service. I can't get a hold of him. I'm driving around the main ducks looking for him. There's no service out there. So I lose half a day of practice. He finally gets a hold of me. He's like, oh, I'm back at the ramp. And I was out driving around the middle of Lake Ontario. I'm like, are you kidding me? So long story short, I just figured him out. And I was like 500 yards from finding what was like the mega load of fish. And I didn't find him that term. I ended up second. Well, the next year we had some local tournaments there and I figured out what I was about to figure out for that tournament. And we won every tournament for the next few years, all 10 feet of water or less. And the fish were so dumb. They've never seen lures. We could go into an area that was 3 to 5 feet of water and you'd throw a spinnerbait on braid and you'd see a smallmouth swim from 40, 50 feet away and they would come as quick as they could. You couldn't reel it quick enough and they would hit your spinnerbait and the whole thing would be gone. And like half of them would break your spinnerbait. It was unbelievable. And it was like you could almost call your shots. We joke with buddies like, yeah, I'm going to weigh 26, 27. And you'd pull up to a point or some shallow spot and these fish live there. Like they didn't move and there'd be like 5 of them. Well, you go there, you'd catch 2 the first day and they'd be 5 to 6 pounders. And then you'd save a couple for the next day. It was almost like they're on beds, but they weren't. And these fish were dumb. So then there was that error where like these fish had never been tampered with. And then they got trickier and it seemed like people got onto the shallow pattern. They went out deep and then we were winning out deep in like 30 to 50 feet of water. So we had that stuff to ourselves. And then now it's the live scope thing, which changed things completely. And the live scope thing, now everyone knows the same areas. And now we're just kind of dealing with different ways to catch them because we're running into people on the spots every time. And it seems like it's a new bait every year, something they haven't seen.
And how do you figure that out? Just through hours and hours in the water?
It's just being on the water. And it's, like I said, local tournaments, not so much practice. Because when you go to practice for the elites, it's very hard to experiment with lures.
Yeah.
I find it hard when I go to, like, let's say Gunnersville or whatever. I don't get time to play around with lures down on those lakes. So when I go, I pick the baits that I have confidence in. Well, if I go to the St. Lawrence, I don't have time to play around with baits. I do that at home on like a Lake Simcoe. When I have a fun tournament for $4 or $5 grand or whatever, I'll take a whole box full of lures and I'll try different things and figure it out. And usually I can apply that to places like Lake St. Clair, Lake Ontario, stuff like that.
It's impressive because I literally did a podcast where somebody asked me about that this morning.
Dave,
and we tried. You're still here. What do you mean? I'm still here. I promise.
The screen froze. it was awkward silence.
I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. I was on a podcast and somebody brought that up and talked about it. There's nothing to compare what you guys are doing. Like when you look at dominance, Lee Livesey's dominance on Lake Fork is incredible, but he's had bad ones. You guys almost, I don't know, like, has there ever been a bad one at a big level?
On the St. Lawrence particular?
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx it. No,
okay, so you just answered it.
I'm sure it's coming at some point because it's not easy. That tournament, I won an invitational in the St. Lawrence this year, and I went and fished some new water that I don't typically fish in the river. And it was an hour and a half run to get to the spot. I fished for like 2 hours. I had 3 bass for like 8 pounds, not one you need to weigh in. I had 2 hours. I'm like, I'm going to run to some stuff I used to fish, caught a few bites in practice, and put it together. Like within like I needed another 10 minutes. I would have had a mega bag. But anyways, I got 27 pounds, but I almost blew it that one day. Like it was just, I've been so close to blowing it so many times, but it's going to happen. It's not easy.
Well, that also explains like your Angler of the Year run, dude. Like it feels like throughout, I kept joking with you, but I feel bad for your family because you follow your bass track. Like today's the day that Chris crashes and burns, and then you make one little stop, or things just change. And obviously that's when it went right down to the wire. That's what it was. So by kind of being as close to the flame as you've been as many times, does the flame become not quite as hot? What I mean is, like, are you not scared of that? It's going to go to shit.
It's going to happen. I promise you. And I've got a lot of gray hairs because of it. I've had so many like stressful tournaments, especially this past year. And I don't know. One of these times it's going to catch me. I promise you.
All right. Before we get into the entire season, let's talk about the biggest announcement that literally came out just right before we shot this. What is your take? Obviously, next year we're going 50-50, so to speak. Half the tournaments with, half the tournaments without. Forward facing sonar. Highly debated. Anglers voted on it. What is your thoughts on that decision?
I literally just read it 20 minutes ago before this podcast started, and I just hope it keeps people happy. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's the happy medium for fans. There's the people that love it. There's people that hate it. So you got the best of both worlds for people watching. You just, get sick of hearing about it, hear about people complaining. And I just hope it just goes away and let's just go fishing. I don't care either way. I've won a lot of tournaments with forward facing. I've won it without. For me, it don't matter. But you get sick of hearing about people complaining about it, especially on social media and stuff, and just want to go fishing and have fun.
Well, I mean, I think that, going 50-50 initially, you're going to have people, you're almost giving everybody a reason to complain. But I also think that you're also giving, ultimately, we want the Angler of the Year to be, and I know because I know you were tested in every single way the last 2 seasons. You couldn't have just won Angler of the Year with forward facing sonar. But now this way you have to, and I think even for the young guys, it gives an opportunity. There's a certain percentage of population that is never going to think Trey McKinney can catch a bass without forward facing sonar.
Yep.
Unless he's put in that situation. So
I think it's a great opportunity for people to prove themselves. You're 100% right. The Trey McKinney, the Fothergill, like he got crapped on because he won the Bassmaster Classic with live scope, which should never happen. But I think it's great that those guys are going to have an opportunity to prove themselves that, hey, you guys be quiet. I just won a tournament or finished top 10 in 3 that have no scope. Like I can catch fish either way. It gives them a great opportunity to prove themselves. And I think they'll be excited for it too.
Yeah.
And I think there's some of them that will do well. There's no doubt in my mind.
Oh yeah.
But it's nice that whoever wins AOY or makes the classic or whatever, top 10 AOY, they have to be able to catch them both ways, with, without. So it'll be a nice shakeup for the season. I think it should be entertaining for the fans.
Yeah. I think it adds another element to it. I think it's the best decision in a weird situation because, how can you shut down technology as it evolves? It's never been the way. But at the same point, there's parts of it, like I don't mind watching forward facing sonar. I just don't always want to watch that. And I think this gives it some diversity, and I think the people that want to be happy with it will be happy. And there's a bunch of people that won't be happy. Like, I don't think people are happy about a lot of things nowadays, Chris.
People just want something to complain about. Like, it doesn't matter. They will find something to complain about. Right. I think it's the best of both worlds, and it's a happy medium. And I think people get to prove themselves. And I think it's going to be great for the young anglers that say, hey, you guys think I can only catch them on forward facing? I'm going to prove you wrong.
Today's high-tech fishing world can be a real pain in the neck, especially if you're running the wrong mounts. Beat Down Outdoors, they bring the graph to you. And they support this podcast and care enough about you to make this a short ad read. Check out Beat Down Outdoors. Now back to the show.
So I said it to you on the dock, and I don't know if that was the first time you knew it, but I saw a look in your face where you were just like, whoa. When I mentioned to you that if you pull this is before you'd won Angler of the Year, said, you've got all the pressure, you want to do this. Back-to-back Angler of the Year is a huge title. There's only 3 others that have ever done it. Roland Martin, Guido, Hibdon, and Kevin VanDam. And I remember you are, just so you know, you're not a guy who obviously gives a reaction. Like when you talk to me, you know where I'm at. But you kind of stone-faced in that situation. But I definitely saw you go, oh, shit.
Yeah, a bit starstruck. Those are quite the names in the fishing world to even be mentioned with. And that it probably sunk in at that moment that, wow, that would be quite an accomplishment to do. And I will probably never get an opportunity in my life again to win back-to-back AOYs. So I'm super honored to be mentioned amongst those anglers. I looked up to them fishing. Kevin, I've watched him fish in the Elite Series for years. And, you don't even think you'd be mentioned amongst the anglers like a KVD. Not that I'm going to come close to his Angler of the Year titles, but just nice to even be mentioned with him.
He once won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Like after winning 2, what is that?
Someone
2 more of these.
Someone mentioned that to me. It's like, oh, now you got a chance to go at KVD's run. He did 4. Like, how do you feel about that? I'm like, I think it's impossible pretty well. And I'm not even thinking about it. I'll think about the first tournament next year. Just try not to shoot myself in the foot. I want to make the Bassmaster Classic is my first goal every year. Just don't suck.
It's a good goal. That's a good goal. And guess what? You haven't been sucking luck, Chris. I mean, outside of Angler of the Year seasons, you do pretty good on the elites. It's fishing things working for you. One of the things I love about watching you win Angler of the Year is it's one of the rare moments that I actually see you with stress, like real stress. Like when I see you at a regular tournament, even when you don't catch them and you have to climb back, I don't see you as stressed. You're just kind of like, I'm going to do my job.
Yeah.
But the last couple of days of an Angler of the Year run, my favorite Chris Johnston comes out. You are a disheveled mess.
I'm glad you enjoy it because I do not. It sucks. Like I was hoping on day 2 of the Mississippi River, I was watching Bass Track and I'm like, McKinney's going to be so close. I'm like, if he finishes 51st, that will make my life so much easier. I get to go out, just fish stress-free, and all I have to do is catch a few bass. But of course, he ties and gets in. I'm like, oh, man, now I got to catch him. And he could weigh 17 pounds. I'm like, all right, we're in for another battle. And I knew it was going to be a tough day. But then to almost not catch a limit and blow it. So, yeah, I was stressed. There was no doubt about it. I didn't think I had 13 pounds either.
What did you think you had?
So long story short, I didn't weigh any fish all day. The last hour I caught a 3-pounder and I actually weighed that one when I was idling out for my 5th fish, which was super stressful. I'm like, I'm going to blow this tournament, my AOY, because I didn't catch a limit on the Mississippi River. I'm like, I got to catch a limit. So I caught that 5th one. I weighed him like that's a 3-pounder. And I thought I had a 3-pounder at the start of the day. And then I got 3 that are like 2. So I'm like 12 pounds. So anyways, I go back to weigh in. I got 20 minutes. I hit a spot from practice. I lose the biggest fish I've ever hooked on the Mississippi River on a frog halfway to the boat. And I'm like, I dropped my rod. I'm like, that was my AOY. I'm like, I blew it 100%. And I back up a little bit. I could see McKinney fishing on days 2 and 3, and he hadn't left one area all day. So I'm like, he's catching them. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm like, he's probably going to have 14 to 16 pounds. So I'm like, I need to catch him. I need to catch him decent. So I lost that one and I'm dropped my rod. I'm like, that was it. My luck ran out because I had caught like 3 or 4 bass throughout the year in the last 20 minutes that kind of propelled me up the leaderboard. And I was like, that was my chance. Again, I had my chance and I blew it. My luck's run out. So I head back to Wayne. I got 3 minutes to fish. I take a chatterbait and I throw it down a seawall in front of takeoff. And I end up catching I didn't think it was that big. I flipped him in the boat. I'm like, holy smokes, that one's going to help. It's like 2 1/4. So I don't have a cull tag on my fish. Nothing's sorted in the back because I only caught 5 fish all day. So I run to the back. I got like a minute to do this cull. And I go to the back, open the live well. I'm like, I know I got 2 3-pounders. I throw 2 3-pounders in the big side. And then I'm looking at my live well. I'm like, ooh, that one looks pretty big compared to the other ones. I grab him, like, that's a 3-pounder. Throw him in the big side. I'm like, I have no idea where that one even came from, but all right, I got like 3 3s. And then I find the little one, and I remember, I'm like, oh, it's like a 14 1/4 incher. And I hold them up, and it was like a 1/2 pound call. So I throw the little one out, and I have like a 2-minute idle back to check in after I do the call. And that's when it finally dawned on me. I'm like, 3 3-pounders, 2 1/4. I'm like, I should have 13 pounds. So I'm like, McKinney's at least got to catch 15 1/2 pounds. I'm like, maybe I got a chance still. So I idle over to the dock, get to the dock, and Catherine and my parents are there, and they're like, good try. I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, this isn't good. They're like, yeah. I'm like, how bad is it? They're like, he caught like 16, 17 pounds. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I was like, that took the wind out of my sails. For like 2 minutes, I thought maybe I have a chance at this AOI still. Yeah. And they literally deflated me. They're like, he's got 16, 17. I'm like, man, I lost like a 5-pounder 20 minutes ago that blew it. Like, that sucks, blah, blah, blah. So I put my fish in the bag, and I'm like, take them up to the troughs thinking I blew it. And I get back there, and I'm sitting there. I look at my phone. I look at Bass Track, and it's like, he's got 14 1/4 pounds. I was like, huh? I'm like, that's weird. They said he's got 16, 17, and I'm end up being beside Tompkins and their buddies. He's like, what do you got? I'm like, I don't know, like 12. And he's like, oh, all right. He's like, McKinney's got like 14 1/2. So he said he's got 14 1/2 on the scale. He's probably got 15. So I'm sitting there in my mind. I'm like, I got 13. He needs 15 1/2. I'm like, maybe there's still a chance. But then in the meantime, I get on my phone. I text Catherine, my dad. I'm like, what are you guys talking about saying he's got 16, 17 pounds? I gave them shit. Because I'm like, 15. You guys just literally ruined my whole day after a terrible day fishing. So then for the next hour and a half, I'm like, maybe I got a chance. So that was a very stressful day.
Did competing against Trey, who is, let's be honest, one of the most polarizing characters in the sport, what he's doing is incredible, but there's a lot of eyeballs on Trey one way or another. Did that put more pressure on you?
No, I don't feel like it. It could have been Jay Shakira. It could have been anyone. I feel like it's the same pressure on me. I'm going for back-to-back AOYs, and it didn't matter.
When do you start thinking of AOY? Do you let the season progress, or is it like first cast?
First cast, first tournament. I'm like, I want a chance at AOY when I go up north in the last 2 events. And it'll be the same this year. I want to have a chance at AOY when I go to Champlain and Thousand Islands. I just want to put myself in contention to have a chance. And I'll be honest with you, it'd be pretty exciting going up north and having a no forward facing tournament. It'd be old school. I'd have to remember how to catch them, but it would be a lot of fun.
Do you think St. Lawrence River, no forward facing sonar, is that better or worse for the Johnston brothers?
I think it'd be a little better. I think it'd be a little better. Now, my weight may not be as good because then things have changed, but I do think it would be a lot better for me. But I think you might see like 23 pounds a day win it or so, just because I don't feel like the big fish live in shallow like they used to, just from pressure. I don't know, but things have changed. But I think the big ones are out deeper now. But I'd still have a few tricks up my sleeve to catch some of those with no scope.
Does this AOY mean, is there any difference between the two? Like, do you look at, are they both valued the same? Like, can you compare the 2 different AOY runs?
They're definitely completely different runs. I feel like this year, I really didn't have a great year fishing. When it comes to elite, on the elite series, on the St. Lawrence, it was really good. But on the elite series, I feel like I didn't have a great year. I never cracked the top 10. So all year I wasn't in contention to win a tournament. I just cashed some checks. And then all of a sudden, halfway through the year, or towards the end of the year, it's like, oh, you're in this AOI race. But it didn't feel like I was competing for a win all year. So it just didn't feel like a great year. Whereas the previous year, I think I had 4 top 10s. I was close to winning a couple. I lost one by an ounce. So it just felt like I was having a better year.
Is it rewarding because you didn't have what people refer to as a crutch that you guys get, which is the St. Lawrence River, which, I mean, is a horrible analogy, but people say that's a gimme for you guys. Does this one feel better? Because you went, I mean, there's a lot of people who pointed fingers and said, well, of course, they had the St. Lawrence River in the schedule.
Yeah, I guess it's a little more gratifying that way. It don't really matter to me. It's never easy. I feel like this one was harder to win than the St. Lawrence. And it was just because of the way the tournament unfolded. Just nothing was easy in this last tournament for me. Like, I didn't have a great practice. I grinded every day to catch those fish. It was never easy. And then like Trey caught him and he got in the cut, and Shakir caught him. This one was probably more of a relief to win this one. I felt like there was more pressure on me to win this one than the previous one. I don't know why, but when I finally won, it just felt like someone lifted a bus off my chest. I'm like, oh man, this one's finally over. I won it. I don't know that it's actually sunk in yet about winning 2 titles, because I really haven't had any downtime since the Mississippi. I just got home today and to even think about it, but I'll probably process it over the next couple of weeks and really let it sink in how cool it is to win them both.
Christopher, let's be honest. Have you ever really had a good practice?
on the St. Lawrence last week, I thought I was going to catch him. Yes, on the team tournament. There's been a few, but I just didn't. This year, I didn't have a great practice. Like, there's some tournaments where like I'm on the winning fish or I have a chance at it. I never had a chance at it this year, and I was never in contention for a win. I was just trying to make checks, to be honest, like after a so-so practice.
But you're pretty famous for always saying, I'm not nothing, but you find something. You know that, right?
Yeah, but this year, Prosnick, he calls me, he says to my brother, he's like, oh, what's walking on water finding? And because I'm usually not on anything. And because he jokes, he's like, oh, it doesn't matter. He'll run into whatever, 22 pounds. And it all started on the St. John's, the first tournament. I ran into Prosnick in a canal in Astor. I'm like, I've got like 4 okay ones. And I need a good bite, thinking like I need a 5 or 6. And at the end of the day, I had 15 minutes left. I ran up towards takeoff. I pull into a canal, throw a wacky rig out, and I catch an 8.5 pounder. I put it in the box. I go to weigh in. And obviously that made my tournament. And Prosnick was in line and he was looking at Bass Track. And he saw I updated with an 8.5 in the last 5 minutes. And then like I had 3 or 4 instances this year with just random luck. Like something was going right this year for me to catch these big fish in the last minute. It wasn't because I had a good practice. And that's why he calls me walking on water now, because I pull a horseshoe out of my butt a few times this year, and I'll never be able to do it again. And that's why I said on the Mississippi, I pulled into a spot with 5 minutes of fish, and I hooked the biggest one I've ever hooked on the Mississippi, and it almost worked out again. That I had a horseshoe all year, and I thought I blew it finally.
But do you really think it's luck? I mean, luck's not consistent.
It's an educated gamble, I guess. I don't know. Some of these were pretty lucky. On 10 killer, I had a not so great practice. I was just going to flip bushes. I had 1 good bite in bushes all week, but I had some 2 pounders. I was going to flip bushes. Sure enough, the first spot, I catch like a 3 3/4 on a swim jig. And then I troll through some bushes flipping, and I go through an opening, and I actually catch one on the other side of the opening. And all of a sudden I hear something blow up behind me in this opening. I look back and there's one chasing a brim. So my swim jig was in my hand. I throw back, I catch it. It's like 2 3/4. I bring it in. That's a good one on 10 killer. And I put it in the boat, and I joke to my marshal. I'm like, what are the odds you think there's another one there? Throw my swim jig back out, hook a 3 pounder. I'm like, holy smokes. All right, this is nice. So I put it in the boat, no bites on the swim jig. So I throw a top water over it. I'm thinking like, there's something to this hole. Throw a top water one, blows my spook out of the water, like 4 feet out of the water, doesn't eat it. So I'm like, all right, there's something going on here. Anyways, I end up catching I pick up a drop shot, and in 5 casts, I catch 5 fish, and I had 16.5 pounds. But I didn't practice that. It just, they literally blew up behind my boat. And I had some pretty lucky instances this year.
Well, it's
going right.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Avco not only makes incredible outdoor clothing, but they care about anglers with their 10% pledge. Avco and the Shed family donate at least 10% of the company's profits to conservation and making fishing better. Now back to the show.
How much does the Classic fuel you? Now you have AOY.
I want the Classic. That's the one I want. If I won the Classic, I could retire. Not saying I would retire, but whenever I chose to retire, I could retire happy, man. I won the Classic, and I got the AOY, and I'd fade off into the sunset and hopefully watch my kids catch some bass and chase their dreams.
They seem to do a lot of that.
They don't know how lucky they are.
They spend a lot of time on the water with you. So when you're out with your kids, is that when you're figuring out these little nuggets?
To be honest, one of the nuggets that I figured out this year, I had a bunch of baits. I threw one on a drop shot for the kids out on Rice Lake, and I was trying, and he caught probably 6, and I never caught a bass on a drop shot. And I was like, all right, there's something to that bait. And he caught on his own, caught 19 pounds for 5. We were out for 2 hours, and I was trying different baits, and he baits that usually work. And he just straight out outfished me on one of these lures. And I was like, all right, that's something. And it worked on the St. Lawrence too.
Some questions you ask and you know you're not going to get an answer, but I got to ask it. What was that bait, Chris Johnston?
Come on, Dave. I'm sure someone on live by the end of next year will zoom in on my lure in a video or something on the camera, and they will figure it out. That's the problem with nowadays. It's very hard to keep a secret. And that's why I don't think I'll win AOY 3 times, because I feel like back in the day, not taking anything away from those guys, but they could keep a secret, a secret lure, secret areas on a lake. They had those things to themselves for 5 or 6 years. Now, if you get a new technique, you might have it for 1 tournament. So keeping a competitive edge over 100 anglers it's hard to do now.
Is that why you intentionally didn't make any top 10s this year, so you could keep your secrets closer to the vest?
I never had a camera on me, so that was the way I wanted to keep it. And someone joked that we got to make a highlight reel of you for the Angler of the Year thing. It's going to be the quickest highlight reel ever, because they never had a camera on me all year.
It's all going to be lacrosse. I mean, that's basically the only time you had a camera all year.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, whatever way it gets done, it gets done. It
was not pretty this year. I promise you that.
Well, I mean, you got to win
though.
Yeah, you'll take it. When you and your brother fish as a team, are you an effective team?
To be honest, we get along very well in the boat, believe it or not. After we get out of the boat, we're usually taking jabs at each other saying you sucked or you blew the tournament, you lost 3 fish. But during the tournament, we're pretty good together. We keep quiet and just kind of, I don't know, we dissect things pretty quick. When there's 2 people in the boat and whatever, you're going down a bank, you can work water really fast.
Let's talk about you two, because that is one of the things that I think you guys have helped change the Elite Series in a lot of ways, but you guys have always been open that, hey, we started this as a team and we're a team and we work together, you split money and do all sorts of things but now that somehow that's spun, I thought it was a real cute story. I thought it was a great story that these 2 brothers who grew up and shared an account.
I'm surprised it has worked out as long as it has, and we haven't had a blow up, to be honest. And it's been very even. We keep our sponsor dollars kind of separate now, what we do with sponsors and stuff like that. But as far as winnings go, we just kind of split it. And it started when I was 11, he was 14. We just had a business that my dad set up for us, and all our fishing winnings went into this business. It paid for lures, it paid for entry fees, and it's worked ever since. So why break something up that's worked this long?
Does it bother you that people use that as a knock against you guys?
Oh, I don't care what people think. I just go out and do my own thing, catch bass. I really don't.
Is that true though? Like it never bothers you?
No, not at all. What people don't get is when they say that, like, they're like, oh, they work together. Every angler, maybe there's an exception of 3, work as a team on the Elite Series. People don't get that. Like, for example, we stay with Cobb and LaHue this year. Well, they share information. They share, like everyone does it. Benton, Cook, like Shakir has his roommates. They share info. McKinney and his guys, they all share info and bounce ideas off. Like everyone does it. We do the same thing, and we're just completely open about it. And to be honest, when we share info or whatever ideas, we try to not fish near each other. We almost, so say he's catching them on a pop bar in one end of the lake. It's like, hey, I'm catching some on a pop bar. This is where I'm catching them. Don't come anywhere near me, but see if you can duplicate it somewhere else. Like that's kind of how we work together, and we try and stay out of each other's way. So not so much sharing spots as much as just techniques on how to figure out a lake and maybe break it down quicker.
Does it me and Zona talked about it before you guys started on the Elites, and one of our concerns was that you guys working together, you would cannibalize each other. Like we both said, hey, there'll be tournaments where they threaten, but I don't know if they'll win Angler of the Years and stuff like that because there's 2 guys cannibalizing each other. Are you a little bit shocked at how effectively it's worked for you guys?
Not really, because we've done it like since I was 18 or 19 in Toyotas, and it worked then. We won Angler of the Year. I think I won it the first year of Fish the Ever Starts, and he was probably in the top 5. And we try not to cannibalize each other. It's like you fish this area of the lake and don't bother me. I'll fish this area of the lake. We may fish some similar, but try not to fish each other's water, because if you do that, you'll never win a tournament. So
how often?
What?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, go ahead.
How often do you fish the same area multiple years in a row, or multiple events?
Well, in the St. Lawrence, it's a little different animal because we fish the same spots all the time. And that's, if it's cannibalized each other anywhere, it's been on the St. Lawrence. And that's because we usually say, like, you go one way, I go the other way. And I feel like that's kind of hurt us a little bit. But I don't know, like you're saying, fish the same spots year after year.
Yeah. Like how often are you are you duplicating success, or is it areas, or is it just the way you're fishing? Just
the way you're fishing. And usually like you got to find new areas every tournament. And even on the St. Lawrence, like we just won this past week, 2 of the spots, I've checked them before. I've never seen a fish on them. And we caught key fish off those areas, and it's just new spots. They were on them for some reason this past week. So even though you think you got a lake figured out, you're always learning something new about it.
Are you a big dreamer? Do you dream?
I wouldn't say I'm a huge dreamer. No.
You don't have dream.
I'm not that exciting, Dave. Remember, I'm pretty boring.
Well, no, you don't have to be. I mean, you might have very vivid dreams. It doesn't mean you're boring.
No, if I'm dreaming of anything right now, it's of like a 400-inch elk coming in bugling, and I got a bow in my hand, and it's about to go down. That's what I'm dreaming of right now, if I had to say anything.
How is that different for you than angling? Like, what is it feeling wise? Like, are they a 10-pound bass? Does it compare, like, or is it even comparable?
It would be like weighing in like 30 pounds on the St. Lawrence. That's what I would kind of dream of, 32 pounds on the St. Lawrence in an elite tournament on the final day to win. Or if I was dreaming about something, I'd have to go with the Classic. Yeah, that one's a dream, 100%. And weighing in like a 30-pound stringer like this past year, bringing in 30 pounds, you dream of a day like that. Where were we? Ray Roberts, where it's actually achievable to bring in 30 pounds and have a shot at winning that trophy.
What are you scared of in the world? Do you have any fears?
Fears. Oof.
I got claustrophobia. I don't like tight spaces.
I don't know that I have a specific fear. No. The biggest thing I have FOMO about is, and I can relate to a lot of these older fishermen that probably in the middle of their career probably take a downturn, is missing out on stuff with my kids.
Yeah.
That is the worst part of the job. And I hate missing out on stuff. And like, I don't want to look back and be like, I missed the best years of their life. So I guess you could say that's one of my fears. I try and be home every chance I can, but obviously with what I do for work, I'm traveling a little bit.
Yeah, that's definitely the toughest part of the job. What's the best part of the job?
Best part of the job would be going to these tournaments, especially when I can bring my kids with me and having fun. Like when it's day 4 on a tournament and you're in contention and actually catching fish. I would say like winning Angler of the Year was the best part of the job, but that day 3 of fishing was horrible. That was not a fun day of fishing. But when you're actually catching them, competing for a win and having fun, that's the fun job. Like fun part of the job. The work is practice leading up to it, all the travel, getting stuff ready. Practice usually isn't that exciting because you're not catching them. The fun part of the job is actually going out and catching them. And people back home think, oh, it's all fun when the camera's on, you're catching them, having fun. Well, they're not always like that. You see the good days on the camera. That's the fun part. The bad days are when you're in 57th place, there's no camera on, you're not catching anything, and you're probably not making any money. So, but that's the fun part of the job. But the best part of the job for me is like when the kids get to come, or like I was going to go to Florida this year. I was hoping we were going there. We were going to go to Disney World for a couple of days to do some fishing.
Damn, Bass.
I know. No one loves going to Florida, but I enjoy it. Florida's been good to me. I want the nice weather, but just taking the kids with me.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I'm going to miss Florida too. No more you make me think about it, but I think it'll be fun. I mean,
hey, the fishing's going to be good on Guntersville. Don't get me wrong. The weather might suck though.
There's a chance.
If a bass tournament's going there, the weather will probably be bad.
I think that what you explained, though, to the final day for Angler of the Year is what makes the classic victory so much more sweet. Like, I get it. There's a lot of anglers who would say, I'd rather win Angler of the Year. It's a full season award. But if you win the classic, you're like, for the last 3 days, I was the best. I beat everybody.
Yeah, and you were catching them.
Yeah, and if you win Angler of the Year, a lot of times it's like, I'm just trying to keep the wheels on the bus so I can pull in here.
That is a great analogy. Yeah, it wasn't necessarily fun getting there, but you just made it.
Yeah, it's like a NASCAR race.
Yeah, not everyone can be like Aaron Martins and just show up to the final AOY tournament and be like, you know what? I don't even need to go fishing today. That would be pretty cool.
Would you like that? Would you like to destroy AOY and not have it tight?
Yes, 100%. Like, just, it'll never come that way, but an easy one, yeah.
Well, a lot of people look at you and think things do come easy. I mean, when it comes to fishing, you've never struggled. Like, what have you... Like, do you ever get in your truck all by yourself and be like, damn, this is pretty easy?
Sometimes maybe when I head to the St. Lawrence, but I don't tell too many people that. Like, I'm going to go catch them. Like this past tournament, you had 3 days of practice, and Corey and I each practiced for 1 day because the weather was miserable and I was burnt out from the Mississippi River. So it's like, you know what? 1 day of practice, we'll go and get it done. And it ended up working out.
It did. Yeah. It usually does end up working out for you. So what's your goal in life? Like, are you a goal-oriented person? Do you like...
My goal is to win the Bassmaster Classic. I want to win the Bassmaster Classic. And if we're getting real specific, I want to get myself set up financially that when I'm done fishing or I'm not competitive anymore, I'm at a point where I could retire comfortably and live the way I wanted. I'm not going to make millions fishing, but at least have a little nest egg that I can retire on. That's the goal.
I've run a Yamaha outboard for over 30 years. It has got me home safe each and every time. If you enjoy this podcast, remember, Yamaha supports it and they care enough about you to make this ad read very short. Now back to the show.
You have an incredible impact on young anglers in Canada. And you just see how many young anglers like realistically think this is a shot now. And you, Gussie, I mean, your brother, all of you guys have a lot to do with that.
Yep.
What does that mean to you? Do you even stop and think about that?
Yeah, actually, I have, and especially the last couple of years, it's been really cool. I've had a lot of young anglers in Canada coming up to me being like, oh, I'm fishing this youth Bassmaster club or I'm part of this club. What do I need to do to take it to the next level? Maybe fish like you guys. And it's really cool to see so many people looking up to us. Different, like you said, Gussie, Coop, now Evan, Kung. You're seeing you see the older guys now trying to qualify through the opens. And that was never a thing 5-10 years ago. So it's super cool that people are starting to realize, hey, we can do this for a living. There's potential for it. And you're starting to see a lot more anglers make that push. And I think you're even going to see more Canadians on the Elite Series in the next couple of years. We have some really good anglers up here in Canada that don't get enough credit. So it's pretty cool that we're kind of putting Canada on the map.
It's very cool. Do you remember the moment that addicted you to this sport? Like, did you have a moment where you were like, damn, I got to do this forever?
Probably when I was 11 years old. I'd always fish with my dad and practicing for tournaments. He'd take us out on places he probably shouldn't have. I remember it was Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. He got lost or something, and there was like 5-6 footers, and I was in the boat. I was curled up under his feet, and we got in just before dark, and there's waves coming over the boat. My mom probably would have killed him if she knew I was out in the boat and that. But probably when I was 11 years old, I got the call to fish my first bass tournament with my dad. And it was on Crow Lake, about 30 minutes from my house. Corey was supposed to fish with him. And the day before, he got grounded. And Corey was 14 or 15 or whatever. So I got the call and I was ready to go. I had never been in a tournament. And we went to Crow Lake and we caught smallmouth on poppars all day. And I ended up catching the biggest one of the day, like a 5-pounder. We won the tournament. I don't know, we got like $2,500 or something. But that's when I was like, from that point on, it was a battle who got to go fishing with dad for the next tournament because I got a little taste of it. So that was when I knew I wanted to tournament fish. Now, in saying that, I never thought I was going to be fishing professionally in the U.S., but that was when I got a taste of tournament fishing.
When did the U.S. thing? What pushed you to do that?
Honestly, it was a couple locals. I think it was actually, him, Vinny. I think he went to fish a couple of Toyotas or whatever they were, Everstarts back in the day. And I was just old enough. I'd kind of still playing some hockey. And I went down and fished my first one at 18. And I was like, I'm going to try a higher stakes tournament in the U.S. just to make some more money. And I ended up doing well. I fished all 3 at One Angler of the Year that year. And it was like, okay, this is pretty fun. We're making some money at it. Still didn't think I was even a chance of doing it full time. And I think I fished the Toyotas for, I don't even know, probably 5-7 years. And finally, Gussie went and he was doing the tour for like 2 or 3 years. Yeah. And it's like, you know what? Gussie can do this. Let's give this thing a whirl. We've had success at the Toyotas. And I think it was like $30,000 up front US, which is a ton of money to kids. And we paid for it all, Corey and I, out of that split joint bank account. We had to pay the entry fees out of money we had won through fishing. And we did it all out of our own pocket. We had some sponsors help us, but for that first year, it was a lot of money. And that's when we fished the tour. And I ended up finishing second that year in Angler of the Year to Andy Morgan. So then at that point, it was like, all right, we can make a go of this, and actually make some money.
Did you ever have that moment where you thought you couldn't do it? Or no? No.
My mom was always like, you know what? You guys are just doing great. You're making money. Don't go waste your money in the U.S. That's too expensive down there. Like paying $5,000 to go fishing. Just keep doing what you're doing. And we always laugh and joke with her now. And she's like, she just shakes her head because we went and spent all our money on these big high entry fee tournaments, and it's worked out. But she's a farm girl. It's like, just no, stay here, keep your money in the bank, and just fish those local tournaments and make some side money. So
as a parent, though, I think you got to understand that. I mean, I think most parents just want their kid to be happy and safe.
Yeah.
And
100%.
And when you take a risk like that, it might not be safe. And if it doesn't work out, you may not be happy.
Yeah. No, but it's, she's happy for us now. And we laugh about it all the time. As she said, it wasn't a good idea.
What's the plan? Are you going to have a big party?
Are you going to come?
Yeah, I'll show up. It's
about 43 minutes door to door.
I know, it's ridiculous. I actually thought about that today. I'm like, why don't we just get together and do this podcast? But this has worked good. You got actually badass Wi-Fi now, and I really appreciate it, because normally podcasts with you are like...
I won a few bucks this year. I can afford some good internet. But no, we're going to have a little party. Catherine and my mom are planning something. I'm not having any part of it, but there'll be lots of friends and fishermen there. We're going to have a good time. And then I got the tournament in Gunnersville for $500,000 first place.
Oh, that's yeah.
Interesting one. And I got an elk hunt in Utah end of September. And then I'm putting the boat away, and it's just going to be hunting and hanging out with kids, chasing them around hockey rinks, and getting ready for next year. But well, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're good.
I was going to say, I won't touch a rod and reel all November, December. I'll start in January, organize and tackle, thinking about next year.
That's when it all kicks off.
Yeah. And that's when I'm usually sick of hunting, and I'm usually mad at deer because they've usually outsmarted me. I can't kill them. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm done with deer hunting. It's time to go fishing.
Do you ever get mad at fish?
Yes, regularly. I've called them a lot of names, especially with live scope now. When you're looking at them and you can see them looking at your bait, usually you have to like talk a little dirty to them and call them names and say, bite my lure. I won't repeat it on here, but
I can imagine. I can imagine what it sounded like on the boat this weekend. With both you
between
and
the
Corey.
two of us, yeah, we called them some inappropriate names. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, you've done inappropriate things to this sport, and it's incredible what you've accomplished. Back-to-back Angler of the Year is freaking a huge accomplishment. It's awesome to see, Chris, and I look forward to seeing how it goes. And I don't know if I disagree with Prosnick's nickname for you. It seems to kind of be the way stuff works out for you.
It has been one of those years, and I can't even deny it. It's like, I think someone was looking out for me this year, and it just, I don't even know how to explain what happened this year with some of the things I pulled off in the last 10 minutes. It was meant to be.
Well, it happened. And now you got to go get number 3, right? I mean, that's
no problem.
3-peat.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll get right on that one.
I'm betting that you'll have an opportunity anyways. Cause you haven't had a lot of bad years, dude. So keep doing what you're doing. What's the most frustrating thing about your brother?
Most frustrating thing, but how stubborn he can be. No. Sometimes it's like talking to a wall, trying to get him to do something. It's frustrating.
What's the best thing about your brother?
Oh, he's pretty good at deer hunting. I won't say that to his face, but he's pretty good. If he worked as hard, I feel like, at deer hunting if he would put that much effort into like fishing or like sponsors and stuff, I think he'd knock it out of the park. But like him with deer hunting, he is 100% all in. He's up every morning before the sun cracks, and like, it's amazing how much work he puts into deer hunting. But if he put that effort into like a business, he'd be set for life. But he just puts effort into deer hunting, which costs money, and you lose money on it. So that's pretty frustrating.
Well, I think this whole outdoor enterprise has worked out okay for you guys. So, I mean, if you started making money deer hunting, you probably couldn't handle the tax implications.
Especially in Canada, 50%.
Oh God, don't start with me. It's a mess.
Yeah,
it is a mess.
Oh, you've won so much money. You must be killing it. I'm like, yeah, maybe if I lived in Alabama, but I live in Canada and we pay 50% tax and it's disgusting. So
it is.
I got to win more AOYs before I think about retiring.
Yeah. What age do you think you'll retire at? Like if you could write the script, how old do you want to be retired?
Probably by 50. I don't think I want to be doing it. I guarantee you I won't be a Rick Clunn. I don't want to go that long. I do it because I love it right now, but I'm sure at some point I'll get burned out. But these next 10 years are definitely going to be the hardest with the kids. Just missing a lot of sports and activities with them. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And if I'm not competing, I'm not competitive, then I won't want to do it either.
Yeah. Well, I think that you got a while ahead of you before that.
I don't know. But when I'm not competing, I'll make room for the next young guy that wants a shot at it. I can tell you that.
Well, you're doing pretty good right now. I'll let you get back to your kids. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks for having me on, Dave.
They're having a great conversation with Chris Johnston, your reigning and double defending Angler of the Year. I thank him for being so open, so honest, and I hope you enjoyed this show. At very least, it was a break from the craziness that is happening. This damn fly is back. For those of you watching or listening to the audio version, you're missing this, but this fly is attacking me here. I think he's against forward facing sonar. But hopefully this show has been a reprieve, a break from some of the craziness that is happening on the internet. And I will remind you, friends, it's just bass fishing. You can do it whatever way you want. This is the route it's going to go in competition for 2026. And guess what? I don't think the changes will be done there. I think this sport's going to continue to evolve. I think that it may stay like that forever. It may totally change and maybe it'll totally go away. Maybe it will be a thing that is used in every event in the future. I don't know. But what I do know is I love bass fishing. I love the feeling of the raspy teeth of a largemouth bass when they touch my freaking hand. And I think sometimes people got to remember that we all just love bass fishing. And speaking of loving bass fishing, another podcast that I host, Officially Unofficial, on the Bassmaster channels and now up on YouTube. A new episode came out this past Monday. It's already on YouTube and it is the best of 2025. I sit down with an incredible panel. We got freaking Mark Zona. We got Tommy Sanders, both Bass Fishing Hall of Famers. We got Matt Pangerak from Bass Talk Live. And we got my buddy Sam Sobey. He was on Bass Live with me. You're going to see him a lot more in this podcast. He's a great dude, and we share great opinions of big moments of 2025. And again, that'll be a refreshing, that damn fly is met. I'm going to, I like flies. I don't like this one, but I like flies. And I like you guys for listening. Thank you. Make sure you let me know your opinions in the comments. I think I'm going to do a Q&A show coming up. We're going to get all sorts of questions from you guys. So if you have any questions of that, we'll just hammer through a bunch of questions. Nothing's off limits. I'll answer whatever questions you have. Next couple of weeks, we'll do a Q&A show because there's a lot of questions in the world. But make sure you let me know your opinions in the comments and like, comment, do all those things. And I thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm going to be dealing with this damn freaking fly. Enjoy being. Until next time. Oh, hey, another thing. School started this week for a lot of kids. Don't be a jackass. Be nice. Open the door for somebody. Be nice. It's a lot of stress for a lot of people. Everybody's stressed, whether they look cool, they don't. Be nice to people. Be welcoming. I mean, they might look cool on the outside and be shaking like a leaf on the inside. Life is too short to be a jackass. Be nice at school, but just be nice in all times to everything on earth except for this freaking fly. Until next time, enjoy being, and as always, Bob Cobb, take it away. I'm going to get this son of a...
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, because Bob Cobb of the Bassmasters told you to. You hear?